Right now, I am teaching my own platform that I'm calling Sweat with Steph. It's a group of HIIT and strength training modalities. My fitness background is I got my certification about, let's see, in 2016, like right when it turned. So pretty much 2017 in January. Yeah, and I received my NASM certification. Mm-hmm. And then I started teaching at a studio called Grassroots Fitness Project, which was located in New York City. It was a very small boutique fitness studio, so our group classes were only about 10 people. It was actually focusing on women's strength, so it was really fun learning the fundamentals of strength specifically for women that I really enjoyed. And then I kind of graduated from there and started teaching my own kind of structure of a HIIT class at a studio called Fit House, which again was in New York City. And that was really fun because I got to like structure my own, I guess, kind of balance of what the workout programming would be. And then I then started teaching at Orange Theory Fitness on the Upper West Side of, again, New York City, which if you're not familiar with Orange Theory, it's, you know, it's a very structured workout, but every workout is different. And I actually found Orange Theory because I took the workout myself and just fell in love with it. So I was like, and I went up to, you know, actually a friend of mine who was working there, and I was like, hey, are you guys hiring trainers or coaches? And she was like, actually, yeah. And I was like, I have to work here. I love the workout. I like speak for the brand. And so, yeah, then I was doing that for about 2 years at Fit House and Orange Theory. And then pandemic happened and everything kind of halted. And then, yeah, my husband and I moved to Los Angeles. And so now everything's, you know, kind of up in the air. But so I started it took a lot of my clients and members who were very loyal to me. They kind of are now taking my classes kind of independently, which has been interesting, fun. So I'm also an actress. So as a lot of, you know, other acting professionals know, I mean, the internet business is very hard and difficult. It's great when it's great. It's not great when it's not great. So I was kind of in the flux of I had just come off of a show and I was kind of like on a down period. And I had tried every side hustle, like waiting tables. I nannied. I sold vitamins. And I was finding, to help my mental clarity and kind of like a down moment for myself, fitness and, you know, getting fit, getting in shape was really helping like clarify a lot of things and made me feel better. And that was what I was really big into. I just wanted to, you know, feel better mentally, physically. And I was starting to work out all the time and I was like, oh, this makes me so happy. What if I did this for, like, you know, my other career besides being an actor? And I was like, you know what? I just jumped and I you know, paid for the schooling and the program for NASM, and I got certified, and I was like, okay, we're going to see if I like it. And good thing I did.
Wow, that's a unique story.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of, it took a jump off of a cliff, but luckily it's been really beneficial for sure.
Yeah.
My gosh. I mean, I know not all fitness and like parts of the fitness industry can be this way, but I love the positivity element to it. I love watching people, one, feel stronger, walk out of a class or workout feeling, you know, happier. I think that's the biggest thing because it releases endorphins, and you can't walk out feeling down, you know. And I think that's my favorite thing about
that's a good one.
it is it's an automatic mood lifter, and it's fun, especially if there's a community base, like you find friends, and it's a lot of, like, even with my family, like a lot of conversation about fitness, especially since, you know, there's somewhat of a health revolution. So that's kind of, I think, my favorite part is the happiness it brings. think the biggest is, I mean, right now, I think with the pandemic and a lot of studios and even, private training gyms being shut down for the time being, I think it's a big struggle to, maintain your love of fitness and your knowledge and how much knowledge you actually bring to your clients or members, but then also figuring out how to market yourself. So then it becomes, now at least, you don't have a studio helping you market and gaining new clients. You have to figure out how to market and brand, which is now a huge thing because of social media. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's a lot extra to take on where you're like, oh gosh, okay, so I have to figure out how I can market myself, what I bring to the table, because there's so many fitness trainers now, especially in like huge cities. So it's hard to kind of find your independence within such a vast community, I would say. Yeah, gosh, I know. It's such a crazy atmosphere right now. I mean, I think when we moved and, studios are still closed, I was like, well, I have to figure this out. And, luckily I did have a loyal, kind of client base who have been great. And I was like, I kind of threw it out there being like, hey, if I did my own virtual classes, would you guys be interested? And a good amount were. And so I think it's the pivot for me has been figuring out how to do this on my own, and be reinventive. So, it's coming up on almost 9 months now, and creating a product, let's say, that's interesting to people. It keeps people coming back, even though it's so hard now, like working out in your home. It's so easy to just be like, nah, so I think that's the biggest pivot, is just figuring out how to keep people coming back, without, a studio's budget to to market those people. Yeah, so I think that's definitely been the biggest like switch. You know, it's kind of a blessing but a curse, this pandemic, in the sense that I think people realize that it's easy to work from home without the distractions. I think the fact that if you're committed and you're motivated to be like, let's work out today, you just go into the other room, or you pull your weights out, or you grab your water bottle, you put it on the TV, and you're like, all right, let's do this, and like, it's so easy.
Yeah, it's very
Even like for me personally, like, oh my gosh, yeah, like you just turn on, I have a couple friends that I really love taking their classes, and I'm like, oh, hop on that Zoom and work out. And so it's so easy. There's no commute. There's no, I mean, a lot of classes are obviously not as expensive as, a big mid-market gym or studio. So I think that's been, a very enlightening moment for people to be like, oh, I can do this at home. And so I think that you're going to see, even when the pandemic's over, that virtual classes, whether it offered by a specific instructor or a studio or gym, I think it's going to carry on. And the gyms will reopen. And for people who want to come, they'll come. But I do think that this is going to be a mainstay for sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh, that's a good one. Oh man, I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think there's a health revolution happening. Like, everyone's eating better, or healthier. Now there's all the, vegans become really big, and vegetarians, and eating less meat and gluten-free, whether you're celiac or not. I think there is this huge shift in everybody's mentality as far as health and wellness goes, specifically to the US, and that's the only thing I can speak on, is that everybody wants to feel good, physically, mentally. And meditation now is coming really big. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that a big part of people's is their health. And I don't think it used to be that like that, you know, I would say like 10 years ago, even like when I was in high school, it was kind of like, oh yeah, like you weren't like being like, let's go do a workout. You know, I was just like, hand me a bag of chips. You know? So I definitely think everybody's a lot more conscious. And I mean, and on the other side of things, the physicality, you know, looking good, which I'm a person that's more about working out to feel good, not to look good, you know, because I think it works from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So you know, and I think there is a spectrum in the US, specifically maybe even Los Angeles, of the physicality versus mental, you know, advantages, which I don't like to speak on because I'm like, ugh, you know. So there's that side as well. Okay, best advice. I think be you. I think a lot of the times we want to be someone else or try to embody something else that someone else does. And so I think once you find your niche, we'll call it, like go for it and like find what makes you unique. In personal experience, I was, you know, training, actually, I'm not going to mention the studio, but I was training at a studio that at the end of their training process, audition process, they told me that I was too much of a cheerleader type fitness instructor and they wanted someone more like angry and in your face. Mm-hmm. And I told them, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me and that wasn't, I could have easily been like, great, you want me to be like boot camp, you know, blah, you know, and been fine and probably would have maybe been successful there. But I just didn't feel like that was me, you know, like that's not what I bring to the table. And so that was a big defining moment for me because I was like, no, I want to be this positive, you know, more of a light rather than like something to make someone feel bad about themselves. Yeah. So I think my biggest advice is be you. Oh my gosh. Oh man, so many good ones. You know, and this is kind of old school, but I love Demi Lovato. I think she's such a pump up, you know?
Absolutely, I'm with
like,
you.
Her voice is incredible. Yeah, exactly. Her voice is incredible. She always has like good bops. Like it's, I always love putting her stuff on. In fact, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he's always like, I'm afraid to admit this, but I do love Confident by Demi Lovato. And I was like, I know. And I always try to like weave her in my playlists. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess I would say like probably any of her songs. Mm-hmm. Oh man. I would say I love like Baja fried fish tacos. Wow. That's what I'd say. Ooh, so in New York, my husband and I, we would take at a studio called Fitting Room, which is, they have a couple locations in Manhattan. And there's two instructors there that we love. And it's Dross and Denny. In fact, I don't know their last names, but we took with them all the time. They're funny. They were super knowledgeable, very particular about form, which I also am. And they just brought like a great atmosphere in their classes. And I loved watching them. I learned so much watching them as far as cues and demos and all that stuff about how to make it fun and less like technical. So yeah, I would say those two. They're my favorite and I miss them because I don't know, you know, living in LA. I'm like, I have to take their virtual class. I would say, and I think this is even on my website because I read it somewhere and I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Mm-hmm. It's, I think, I'm probably going to mess this up, but it says, when you stop believing happiness is somewhere else, it will never be where you are. Because I think so much of us look, you know, ahead so much and we're like, oh, I want to be like this, or I want to look like this, or, you know, and I think we'll never get there if we don't take a second in the present and be like, look what I have now, you know?